There's a line here, girl. You got a problem here, guy?
I had this secret. There's a darkness inside of me. It followed me here. And it's gonna keep coming for us. We share a certain history. This isn't like any other ghost face.
What is this place?
A shrine.
We've got to lure him in.
We execute him.
Hello.
Let's play a game.
You know you're like the 10th guy to try this, right? It never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
Maybe. But there's never been one like me, Gale. I'm something different.
That's why I'm gonna shoot you in the head.
You want me. So let's finish this.
Guys?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ranked and Reviewed Goes Live. I'm your host, Tommy West, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, ALANNIS Maximus. What was that? A dinosaur? Alan. Nice. We're here to talk about Scream 6, and we're going to talk about the first half of this review is going to be spoiler free, so stick around for as long as you would like, leave, come back, watch it when we go into spoilers. We'll make sure you all know when that is. So let's get to it, ALANNIS, with a quick overview of Scream. Did you have fun tonight, by the way, watching it?
I did. The ride-in was a pile of balls.
Oh man, the writing was a fucking nightmare, bro.
And we somehow, it always happens whenever we see a movie, there's one quirky event. This time was a random guy in the bottom right-hand corner of the cinema where anything happened. Even if it wasn't funny, like the kills were revealed and you see it.
It drove me nuts, man. Like, he just laughed. At the things that are supposed to be like a little chuckle, like a, that's kind of funny. He was like, yeah. So our overview goes like this. Scream 6, 2023, rated 18 plus, 2 hours and 3 minutes. Now that's weird because here it's rated MA 15 plus.
Yeah.
It has an IMDb rating so far of a 7.5 out of 10. This is directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. This is written by James Vanderbilt, Guy Busack, Kevin Williamson, and stars Melissa Barrera, Courtney Cox, and Jenna Ortega. And this had a box office budget of $35 million, like roughly. And it was filmed in Montreal, Canada, not New York, for all of you who wanted to know that. So let's get straight into it.
New York, then New York.
Exactly. Let's get straight into it quickly with your thoughts on the movie.
My thoughts. I was pleasantly surprised. As with all kind of horror movies and continuations of franchises, it can be quite hit and miss. I was hopeful. But in the back of my mind, I was just thinking, please don't be shit. Please don't be shit. Please don't be shit. But I really enjoyed it. It went in a very different direction. I think these directors set up kind of the homage to the old formula in the last movie, and this one kind of went, right, this is now ours. It was just a lot more, the violence was a lot more kind of brutal. There was more gore, and it was a very different Ghostface, which I think added a new level of tension to how it was done. I think is my nutshell there.
Yeah, well, we saw it in 3D, and I'm just going to tell you all now, don't bother seeing it in 3D. It was pretty pointless. It was a conversion job, obviously, so it had been converted, not filmed in 3D, and it utilized the 3D in a few cool ways, like on a few cool scenes, but majority of the movie, it was just much darker than you would normally have in a theater, and it was a bit more depth to the picture. Other than that, you know, a couple of scenes like where he had the shotgun in the bodega that comes out of the screen at you and shit. But look, maybe 4DX is different and it's better, but 3D kind of pointless. And after watching Avatar 2, it was a little disappointing. But I'll get into my thoughts quickly, and that is that I think this movie was really good. I think that this movie was awesome. I'm still having trouble working out where I'm going to rank it. I don't know if it's my favorite entry yet. We're going to have a ranking for you by the end of this conversation. I'm sure I'll work it out with ALANNIS once we get into some more of the nitty gritties. But look, this movie was really fun. It was actually like heart adrenaline pumping for the first time in a long time that a Scream movie, I think, has done that. And if you don't know who the killers are and you haven't had it spoiled for you, it will be a bit of a surprise, I guess. It won't be like easy to catch, but if you've had it spoiled for you already, just know that some of the spoilers that were going around were actually true. So be prepared to be disappointed if you're keeping up to date with it quite a bit. ALANNIS, how do you think this compares to the previous installments?
I think I found myself, it had a lot more of a tense feel. I think in the element of it being in the Big Apple, and kind of, it had more of a lot of them are in the small town, kind of, you're set up at home by yourself, completely isolated, and no one's there to help you when you get stabbed. Whereas this was more, you can be in a crowd of people and he'll still come at you. You're still in danger, nowhere safe. And I think that it broke the formula, made it more tense, and I think more interesting. I don't think it really made me jump, but it kind of made me, like, you didn't know where to anticipate where the attack would come from. Like, there was, he was anywhere, like any possibility he could be there and making his attack kind of thing.
I think that most people will be most surprised when they go see this movie for the first time. Out of anything from this movie will be how it begins.
Definitely. And we missed the first couple of minutes, but got the gist of it.
Well, I think it was less than a minute.
Yeah. I think I think we literally would have missed the first, as you said, minute, 2 minutes.
As we said, the drive going in there was a fucking nightmare. When we left to go, it would be an hour. And then it just kept getting back and back and back. By the time we were like, if we would have been an hour, we would have been like 20 minutes away. It was like still saying 45 minutes or some shit on the map. And I was like, this is fucked because the traffic was so bad. So we did miss a couple of minutes, but maybe not even a couple of minutes, because we did see like the big wow moment sort of thing. You know what I mean? What did you think about like the new actors in this, like the newcomers in this movie?
I enjoyed the love interest of Samantha, the older sister, Samantha. I was dodgy on him the whole time.
Remember, no spoilers, bro.
Yeah, no spoilers. It was an interesting casting choice because he played a villain in Arrow, so he has this shady vibe to him about me. For whatever reason, I was dodgy on him for the whole thing. Whether that meant anything, I won't say. But it was he did a good job though. It was one of those moments where you sit there going, is that him? Is that guy? Does this just look like that guy? But I really enjoyed his contribution. He did the role really well. I think they were the only real. He was the most standout of the new people. Other than that, the legacy characters and the characters from the last movie kind of.
That's what I was about to say.
Well.
Was that the characters from the last movie? I reckon they. My dog just opened my fucking door. I reckon the characters from the last movie, yeah, they felt like you knew them better than you actually like really do. You know what I mean? Like they already felt familiar enough that it was like, oh, like you're comfortable with these characters. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the first time when you went and saw Scream 5 where you were like, oh, we have to grow to like these people kind of thing or whatever. You know what I mean? It was like, at least it still felt kind of familiar, and you still have the connection of like Gale Weathers and things like that, and even Kirby making an appearance like that. You know what I mean? So you still have it tied back to those old movies as well. So it's all tied together to make something very new, I feel, and that's the best thing about this movie is that it doesn't feel like any of the other Scream movies.
Yes, it's very, very different. But I think it had to go that way. I think they had to break the mold. I think if they tried to stick to what they've always done, then it would might not have been bad, but I don't think it would have been as good. It would have just felt like treading common ground kind of thing, like just repeating itself.
The one thing I will say is that this was a lot more gory than previous documentaries, a lot more violent, a lot more chaotic, and it was a fun time. Like it was a fun movie, and it went very quick, despite being the longest movie in the franchise. In its history, it is definitely the most fast-paced. It could have gone for another hour, I reckon, and I probably wouldn't have had a problem with it.
Yeah. I think the tension kind of helped with it as well because you didn't know where things were coming from, so you always kind of wanted you wanted to know what was around the next corner, and there's generally some kind of reward there. Not even so much of a fake out. There was very little of that. It was pretty much when Ghostface was there, he was there, but it was also unpredictable where he would be, kind of thing. I feel like
definitely. And they did some really clever things too, with like the whole him calling them and stuff like that they haven't done before, and you're like, huh, that's pretty clever, you know. But yeah, again, before we get into spoilers, because we're about to go into spoilers, so I'll let you know when we're actually going into spoilers. Like I'll give you the full nod, but let's give a quick summary. What do you think? Do you think people should definitely go see this? And do you think that you would see it again yourself?
I would definitely rewatch this movie. I don't think I'll bother with just specific 3D again. It didn't seem worth it. There was a couple of good moments, but I feel it was like watching a non-3D movie on the 3D TV and having it force that perspective. It didn't really pop. It was just kind of
it definitely wasn't worth the drive. Now 4DX we can't speak on because 4DX probably is really good with all the like when they're climbing over the ladder. You can imagine like the wind blowing in your hair and things like that. You know what I mean? Like there's moments you can realize that. I don't know what they use for smelling because I don't know if I really want to smell people's guts and shit, but hey, I'm open to it. So with that, you definitely should go see this movie, but we are gonna get into spoilers now because with the Scream movie, it's very hard to talk about this movie without spoilers. So we're going into it, and we're going into it from now on.
Here's the spoiler dinosaur.
We put the spoilers bar at the bottom. So while this bar is on, you know that we're talking spoilers. ALANNIS, what did you think about the opening of the movie?
I liked it. It was very different, and I think it worked though. It wasn't like the other movies where they're kind of trying to keep to a similar formula, like a character survives or a movie within a movie, or I think if any opening, in a way, it felt the closest to being the opening of Scream 2, but done a lot better. Also, it was the same, also very different, but it was the same sort of vibe about it, kind of in the open. There was no hiding what was happening, kind of thing. And it also kind of gave the illusion that unmasked the killer straight away. Which
Yeah.
I
So
thought was,
for anyone wanting to know what Alanis is kind of alluding to is that the movie opens with someone killing somebody, wearing a ghost face mask, and taking the mask off, and you seeing the killer to begin with. And you're like, what the fuck? So we're like, they've just given the reveal away of the killer. And then the killer gets called by the killer. And the killer kills the guy that just killed somebody. So Ghostface got killed by Ghostface kind of thing. And that's why it's kind of hard to say how many killers this movie actually had, because he was apparently planning that with somebody else named Greg, or it started with G. I'm going to say that. And he's on the phone, and he thinks it's Greg or whatever talking to him, and he's like, I thought you said we wouldn't do the voice to each other. And he's like, what did it, Ghostface is like, what did it feel like? And he's like, it felt great, like killing this person, and like we're finishing Richie's movie from number 5 and all that sort of thing. And then Ghostface kind of, he's like playing him, like, you know what I mean? Like pretending to be this dude, pretending to be, you know, like his friend or whatever, just using the voice. For anyone that's joining us, I just saw someone just joined us now, another viewer. Remember, we are at the spoilers part. So if you don't want this spoiled for you, please back out now, because we don't want to be those guys. So back out now, come back when you've seen the movie if you don't want to spoil it for you. But that's plenty of warning. We're all good. We're all good. So are there 5 killers in this movie, Alanis, or are there 3?
I would definitely say there's all up, technically 5.
That's what I think. At the end, we of course get the unveiling of the killers. 3. And at the start, we get the 2 that were planning to be killers getting killed. So you would technically classify that there were 5 killers in this movie, which is, it's kind of smart too, because if you would have done 3, people would have kind of like maybe put that together. I mean, like, yeah, well, they had to do something different. Of course, it was going to be maybe one more or whatever. But to do that other angle to it makes it kind of like hard to justify. Like, is it 3? Is it 5? But it's technically 5, you know. How did you think they went with the trailers and hiding the actual like outcome and what was going on in this movie? How did you think they handled it?
There was a lot of misdirects and false dialogue and things like that I think kind of cover the trails all right, especially the train scene you see, which you pointed out. The way in the trailers it's shot is they're all on the one carriage, everyone in the survivor group, whereas in actual fact in the movie they get kind of peeled off. 2 of them are in one train, 2 are in another. So the whole tension, wackiness ensues. So it definitely, I don't think it gave anything away or hinted at anything that actually happens, but it masks how things actually play out pretty well, I think.
I definitely agree. So like, what did you think about the killers this time? The reveal. What did you expect it? Did you like the choice that they went with? What do you think?
I think it, as you said, the one thing that kind of did feel a bit tied was it was all about the revenge for the previous killers, which we've seen before. We saw it with the second Scream movie with Mrs. Loomis, and that was stemmed off trying to make art imitate life in terms of violent movies, which we saw in the last movie, as well as a couple of things. They kind of like Scream's always felt a little more grounded, whereas there's a couple of things that were like, I don't believe that. Like one of the killers is Quinn, the female, and in the earlier onsets of the movie, about the midway point, she gets killed, and it's like police forensic situation, everything like that, but it's a death fake out. I don't know how that realistically could have been done. It felt a little more, it was more of a stretch than I'm used to seeing in these movies with the kind of fake out element. In the way they put it in this movie doesn't sell as well to me. I don't think it ruins it, but it was also kind of like, let me go,
Yeah. I was disappointed in the reveal, and that's only coming from me in the way of that I had already had it spoiled for me. And while I couldn't remember the actual like real names of these people, I did remember the title of one of them, and that was the detective in this, which he turns out to be one of the killers. And I did remember that when I had it spoiled for me, it said the detective, and I didn't know the other name. So it was kind of good because my brain did not hold that piece of information. So I at least had the other bits of the movie still a surprise for me. You know what I mean? But I do think it was disappointing that the leak got out. I really do, because I think that when you know who the killer is in a movie like this, it really hurts it.
Mm-hmm.
Have to go in blind. You have to.
Absolutely.
I mean, but again, it's not disappointing. It was very well done. And I'm just gonna what was some of your favorite moments in the movie? Because I'm keen to talk about some of mine.
I really enjoyed, and I think it was one of the few moments in the movie that the 3D actually popped a bit. Was the ladder scene where they're going across apartment to apartment, escaping Ghostface across a ladder between the two buildings. Another was the service station scene. I really enjoyed how that played out. It played out. That's another one where it worked a lot better in the movie than how they showed it in the trailer. And I think that's because they kind of cut a little bit out in the trailer cut.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because everyone was laughing about how quickly Ghostface could dodge that bullet. It looks like he defies physics, sort of thing, with the shotgun getting fired at him. But when you watch the movie in cinemas, you actually realize that that happens a lot, more realistically. Like, he does actually move in a way that is believable, unlike in the trailer where it kind of looked like it was weird. You're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? How did he move that quick? You know?
Yeah.
But I agree. I think the ladder scene was really good. I like the bodega scene as well that you just talked about. I like all of that stuff, but I think that the highlight scene of this movie was the train scene. I loved it. I thought the train scene was so fun. And it was just so well shot and edited together that it doesn't look like there's cuts happening. It doesn't look like Ghostface is disappearing or anything like that. But the way they shot it, every time the lights dimmer in the train, he's in a new position, or he's disappeared, or he's there again. But when it cuts, it really doesn't look like he's moved at all, even though he has. You can tell the way they shot it, he definitely did move out of the frame and they got empty spaces. But the way it was shot just made it so fun because you're like, well, he's there. Oh, and the guy that's sitting down that you maybe didn't think was Ghostface is now starting to look over at her. And now he's standing up. And now he's right there. And next thing, he's right there and he's killing you. You know what I mean? I just thought that scene was really fun and well shot.
Yeah, definitely.
And I also think that the ladder scene was great too. And I did not expect it to be so early on in the movie. I was looking at that scene as sort of in the build-up, the finale. You know what I mean? Sort of the climax at the end of the movie, but it really wasn't. It was really early on. So
yeah.
Which was good.
Yes, quite.
What did you think about them bringing Billy Loomis back again for these sequences? Did you think that they were going to do that, or did you think that was sort of a thing for Scream 5 as a cameo, and that was it?
I like that they kind of continued it in the sense of it tied it together. I feel it's going to play a bigger role in what is looking like the third part of a trilogy. So I think if they do that, if they do it kind of right the way I think they're going for, I like that they did include that, because if it goes in that direction of Samantha, yes, kind of losing her marbles further, then I think that's relevant to have that there, and it would feel weird if you want a whole movie without that kind of aspect.
I definitely see why they needed to have it in there, but I'm still yearning for my stew, man. I'm yearning for them to bring back
And they
walking out.
teased it again, like
And
openly.
they teased the Stu like comeback, and it didn't happen because they sit in front of the TV. They crushed him in the shrine. Which, by the way, I'm very fucking happy. They decided that people were trying to say that that shrine thing was going to be like an open exhibit that people could go look at in the movie, and it was like sort of like a ticketed event. And I was like, no, please don't be that way. It has to be a fan obsessed person. Like that's what I want. You know, someone that's like that in love with it. That's what's happening. And I'm so happy that that's actually how it turned out.
It was Richie's collection.
Yeah, which is crazy. It was Richie's collection. So Richie from the 5th movie, one of the killers, it was his Ghostface collection. What did you think about the whole him leaving masks at the crime scenes and things like that?
I like that. It kind of I think its payoff was a bit disappointing, but whilst it was going along, it was good. It added that element of kind of intrigue. It's like, where's this going?
Definitely. And where do you think it's going to go from here? Because I'm so confused on like what to think. Because the last shot of this movie, you've seen it in the trailers. It was where Melissa Barrera, Samantha, is looking at Billy Loomis's mask. Her dad's mask, and and it kind of has this ominous tone, ominous music, ominous feel, and it looks like almost that maybe she might be corrupted enough to be the next Ghostface or whatever. But then she kind of drops the mask on the concrete and walks away. And I like that, but I also was hoping that the final shot, I know it would be kind of silly, but is it any more silly than what we got in Halloween Ends? It would be kind of cool if we saw someone's hand come up and grab the mask off the concrete, alluding to that this is going to continue. You know what I mean? Not saying that person that grabbed the mask was actually going to be the killer in the next movie, but it like would have been a cool, nice little touch rather than just like a sort of a pan up. But yeah, I don't know where to go from here because I do feel like if they retread this too much, it is going to go old. Whereas this movie is old and familiar enough that it's like still in the vein of Scream, but it's fresh and new. That it's like unlike any other Scream movie we've had before. And I just wonder if they can do that again because without it making it feel like it's just the same movie again. You know what I mean?
That's going to be the interesting part as well because this felt like a completion of a story arc to a degree. There's not anywhere for it to really lead into for a third wind up unless they go back into maybe something like Stu. Like we had the family of Richie take their vengeance, and now for a third movie, there's not really a lead into it, which I don't think it implies that it won't be good. I think there is potential for a very good third installment, but at the same time, it feels like that's going to either be almost a contained finale or a beginning to a Scream 8. I don't think it's going to directly feel like a resolving point of the last two movies.
I agree. But I'm definitely looking forward to what direction it goes in. I'm already excited for Scream 7. And yeah, they really did follow through with the promise that this is unlike any other Ghostface.
Yeah.
This movie. So, I mean, let's give it a quick wrap up and then let's give it our ranking. I think we've talked a lot about it. I think we've given some good impressions and we've made it very clear to people that they should definitely go check this movie out. And yeah, it's a great time. It's fun. Just don't bother with the 3D. Unless it's like an easy option for you and you can just, we could go see the 3D one. We'll see it later, whatever. If it's easy, do it. Don't do what we did and drive an hour and a half in fucking peak hour traffic.
Don't drive across to the other side of your city for it.
No, don't. With that, ALANNIS, let's give it a ranking.
Yes.
So, I've already ranked it. Where does this rank for you? And I need you to give me your list again so that I can bring it up.
Yes. I am going to recap, and just to make sure I'm remembering correctly, I'm just bringing up my old memory refresher. One moment.
Yeah, of course. No worries.
That's
Take your fucking time. It's not like we've got nothing else to do at 10 past 11 p.m. You know?
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Because I'd like to eat at some point. I feel malnourished.
The fuck is it? Okay, I know that I put the first Scream at number 1.
Yep.
Followed by Scream 5 at number 2. Followed by Scream 2 at number 3.
Hold on. Slow down. 1 second.
Scream 4 at number 4.
Yep.
And Scream 3 at number 5.
1 second. Nearly there.
You getting there?
Oh wait. 2. Yep. 4. Yeah. Cool. All right. So no backsies. Yeah. This is it.
This is it, and I am putting this movie at number 1. It is my favorite of the franchise.
Wow. There you go. Alan's a fucking lover of this movie.
Yes.
Oh, I hope I didn't fuck these up at all. I can't see. Oh, wait. Yep. I did fuck it up. All right. Let's bring up the ranking for the whole franchise. This is best to worst. Are we all ready for this? We're all ready for it. What? So it goes like this. Jurassic World Dominion. What the fuck, man? I don't know how that came up or whatever. All right, so our ranking looks a little like this. I'm taking the spoiler thing away. And our ranking looks like this. Mine. Scream, number 1, 1996. Scream 6 at number 2. Scream 4 at number 3. Scream 5 at number 4. Scream 2 at number 5. And Scream 3 at number 6. ALANNIS is Scream 6 at number 1. Scream 1996 at number 2. Scream 2022 at number 3. Scream 2 at number 4. Scream 4 at number 5. And Scream 3 at number 6. So how do you feel about it, ALANNIS? We saw Take the Apple, and it was fun.
We have an interesting juxtaposition, but I still am behind it. I'm okay with it. It's good where it counts.
Definitely. Well, we hope you all enjoyed it. If you're only just joining us now, we thank you for coming to tune in. You can rewatch this straight back and check out our original thoughts. And the first little bit spoiler free, so enjoy it. And as always, I've been your host, TOMYE West. And joining me, as always, has been my co-host, ALANNIS. Thank you for watching. Rank Your Review goes live. We'll see you next time for whatever review we do. We love you.